Hello. So how are you guys doing on this Sabbath? You guys know, before we've been in a kind of like mini series, right? These past 3 weeks have been special. As we said, they're called Nusabalat. They're small holidays talking about the themes of Christ's birth. So if we can go and use our memory maybe, if we can remember, what's the first week? It was called Sukkot. And then the second week was, last Sunday was Birhan. And then today, as Kashi Sahabai said, Nolawe, exactly. So this week is special week. So this week is a very special week because unlike the other weeks before this, the word Nolawe, shepherd, it evokes a kind of pathos or like an emotion from us, right? Especially in today's gospel reading, talks about Christ being the good shepherd and how he laid his life down for our sake, right? And so the Subkat and Burhan talked about Christ's like attributes. He's the great light of the world. He's the one who's going to free us from slavery. He's going to do all of these things for us. But this week is like almost showing God's like soft side almost, where it's like he's a shepherd. He loves us. He's the one who's going to lay down his life for us, right? So it's a very, very special week, and it shows like the main reason why Christ came. Of course, Christ came to show his divinity. He came to, be an example. But the main reason he came was because of his shepherd, him being a shepherd, to gather the lost, right? To gather the scattered. I actually alluded to that just a little bit in last week's mezmur. At the very end, it said he's the one who's going to gather the scattered and find the lost. But this week, Yared leaves us with this one last thing before we go into Ganna, right? Because now we're only 7 days left, right? This Sunday is Ganna, and then we celebrate his birth. So Yared is leaving us with this last note to identify our Messiah. And he tells us about how he's a shepherd. And that's the main thing that sets him out, is that he came to the world to save us because he loves us. Relationship between a shepherd and a sheep is very special, very intimate, right? And we see this, as our father said earlier, with Psalm 23, right? How David described it, is that even today how Christ described it. He's the one who's going to put his life down for us. He's the one he knows every single sheep by name. The way Christ describes it is very intimate. So he's showing that he's not just coming here to just like almost feed into his divine ego of just saying, I'm God, listen to me. But it's a very intimate and loving way of saying, I care for you because you're my creation and I want to save you. So, on that note, we can get into the mezmur. Not literally the mezmur, the thing that said before. The slide before, please. So, first it says, the shepherd, so Yared writes poetically, the shepherd that came to the world is the Son and Word of God. First here, again, these past identifying our Messiah. So these past couple of weeks have been about identifying our Messiah, right? So he says first he's the shepherd. We already described that earlier. And then he's the Son and Word of God. So it's showing he's alluding to his love and also showing that he's God as well, right? So it's saying he's the Son and Word of God. Next it's saying Christ descended from glory in his divine ability. It's very poetic because we have these same mezmurs every year. And it's like Yared is describing Christ as if we've never met him before. Like he's describing these traits like as if we've never met Christ before. And it's alluding to the fact that we do liturgy every Sunday. All of these things is because Christ's life, Christ's sacrifice, Christ's resurrection is timeless in its nature. So you can never say like, oh, I just do liturgy once and then I can do Qurban and saved is good. No, because Christianity in its nature is active. Orthodoxy is active. It's an active walk towards Christ, right? So in its nature, so he's saying Christ descended from glory in his divine ability to show that divinity resembling how it's timeless, his life itself. Then it continues, he is the Lord of the Sabbath. This is something Christ himself said, right? When the apostles were eating the tares of the wheat on the Sabbath, people were like, the Pharisees were saying, why are you eating on the Sabbath? Why are you doing this work on the Sabbath? And he's saying, don't you know that the Messiah, the Son of Man, is the Lord of the Sabbath? So again, Sayyid Yared in his mezmurs here is telling us how, again, the Messiah, the one who's coming to save us and is going to come this coming Sunday, is divine in nature. He's equal to God. Then it says, the Father said to his Son, my Son, at my right hand, or at my right. This is a direct reference to Psalm 110, where God the Father is speaking to his Son, and it's a very clear way of signifying the relationship between the Father and the Son. So that's this week's mezmur, and so I'm going to invite choir up now to sing a mezmur referring to Gabriel, because this past Friday was the holiday of Gabriel.